All right. All right. Members of the culture. It's been a long time, but I'm so glad to come back to you right now. I am Ra, and you are here. First things first, folks. A lot of crazy weather is going around the area where I live in. I'm in the southern United States, but it's going kind of from Midwest all the way through to us. So to anyone that's been affected by the weather, the tornadoes, the storms, the flooding, all of that, my heart goes out to you. All of our hearts here at the channel go out to each and every one of you that are affected. You certainly have our prayers and condolences during these tough times, all right? Now, let's get into the business. Got a little news, folks. You're here for a review, right? I know you see who it is. It's Icon. But got a little news first. We have made a modification. I know you're going to say modification to the review system. You just started. I know, but that's the thing about just starting. You get better, you improve, you make changes as needed. So to our review criteria, we have changed it. We now have 5 categories. Now remember, we still remain a primarily in-box collecting channel, but we do review figures outside of the box. That being said, 5 categories, right? Still 20 points maximum for a total score of 100, right? First category is going to be cool. Cool is, well, that's like it says, is it cool? You know, does it connect with you? Is the packaging cool? How does it look before you even take it out of the package? Because I think a lot of times when you get ready to buy something, you're looking at the figure, and sometimes you see it in the package. Sometimes you see it, you know, when they do like reveals and everything, when Hasbro or Marvel does their leaks and shows you upcoming figures. You see them outside the package and you're like, okay, cool. But some things look better in the package. Those of you that collect know what I'm talking about. Anyway, on to the next one. Our next topic, articulation. Aha, the way you move, baby. Because if the figure is not well articulated, it probably needs to stay in that package. And there are some figures, looking at you, Darkside Mega Figure, that are better inside the package, even though I have one. But those of you that have that Darkside Mega Figure know what I'm talking about. Price. Is it worth your scratch? At the time of this recording, and I'm not going to get political with you all, we know we just had the whole tariff situation drop down, so prices on everything, especially something like disposable income when it comes to figures, has gone up. Figures are affected. I mean, they weren't before, but they definitely are now. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So that means that my advice to you folks, if you're going to get some figures, get them now. Get them, please take advantage. And I'll cover that in a minute as we talk about Icon. That's going to tie in later. But definitely get your figures now, because when they hit the second market, especially with this tariff situation, ooh, baby. I don't want to think about it. Next up, display. How do I look? Obviously, how cool does the figure look inside or outside of the package, especially displayed next to other figures? Now, in the case of the DC Multiverse, most of those are going to be 7-inch figures. So we're going to see how they compare with other DC Multiverse figures, as well as Marvel Legends, so on and so forth. Now, at last, the last topic is accessories. How deep is the bag? What does it come with? As we talked about in an earlier video, we discussed the Marvel Legends of last year, the good year they had when they put out their figures. They did have like that Odin, Jean Grey, Phoenix Force, Venom Pool, the Hulkbuster, those that had some really cool accessories. That's something that we talk about, and that's a factor. So anyway, altogether, you got 20 points total for each category. 100 points would be the max. So we're here to talk about a certain person. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about my main man, Icon. And there he is. Folks, it took me a while to get this figure, right? It was hard. He came out in February, but for some strange reason, he was just hard to get. I do not understand why. I wish I had answers to that question, but I don't. I honestly don't. It just, if you tried to get Icon, then you know the struggle. He just now became available on GameStop, their site. I couldn't really find him anywhere else. McFarlane Toys, he sold out like that, you know. So that was like a lot of their figures do anyway. But that was kind of a pointless thing. So I was searching everywhere, and the only place I could find him was like eBay and Mercari, and he was like outrageous prices. But we'll cover that a little bit later on, right? So let's go ahead and tell you the first thing, since we're talking about the cool factor here with him. Just off the rip, when you look at him, to me, he looks cool, right? I mean, we're talking about cloth, soft good cape. He is just badass. I'm going to bring him in a second where you can get a look at him, but let's check the box first. I think that art is amazing. That is really, really cool. Of Icon and Rocket Season 1. That's just bad. Here's his box right here. He does come with, as you can see, He happens to have a basic McFarlane stand. He comes with a collector's card, and he has a pair of open hands. I kept his two fists on. That's what he comes with by default. And I think of Icon as a brawling character is going to whoop somebody, so I just left the fist on there, right? Now, let's get to the get to. So for Cool, when I look at him, and we're talking about packaging and how he looks at first glance and connecting with him, things of that nature, he scores a total of 15 points. I think a character like Icon would have benefited with a flight stand. To me, you could keep, the hands and everything, but if I added the flight stand, I think he would have scored higher. But as it is, he got 15 points. Next thing, we talk about articulation, the way you move. Well, he has everything that you would really want in your figure. He does have double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. He has the McFarlane style hip joints, as my man D Hunter likes to say, so he can do splits. That's not a problem. I am a sucker for a cloth socks good cape, and I really, really appreciate the fact that they did this with the wire. I'm a fan of it. Nothing against plastic, because with some characters it does work, but if I can get this kind of a cape that's posable, looks good on him, I really, really would prefer that. Movement is good. Now his head movement is, he really can look up better than he can down, which is a little odd for some strange reason. But as a whole, his articulation is very, very good. He does have tilt rock on his ankles, toe articulation. There's no problem with this figure as far as articulation. Outside of, as I said, the issue with looking down, I really wish he could look down more, but he does have a generous ab crunch waist swivel that kind of makes up for it. But articulation, he scored pretty well, so he did get 20 points there. Well, we talk about price. Is it worth your scratch? Here's where we're going to dig a little deep. As I told you, it was hard to find him, and I could only find him on the secondary market. And folks, he was going for $50 or more, and that's not even the Chase variant, right? Because they just launched this Chase variant. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a strawberry color. It looks really, really awesome. I don't know if it's that red platinum or whatever, but I know for a fact that's if you can't find the regular Icon, good luck finding that whenever it does launch. In any case, I had to find this gentleman off of a site called Pop Culture, which is out of Australia. Thanks to a shout out to my man Jorge Cuevo. He let me know about that. Definitely, as I said before, get him while you can, because as we know, that tariff situation is going to drive up the price. Australia will be affected by the tariffs. There's no doubt. Everybody pretty much is. So I was able to get him actually for the price that he's supposed to retail at, around $22, which was fantastic because, as I said, the least I could find on Mercari or eBay, he was north of $40 in both of those occasions, and that had nothing to do with shipping. So you can kind of see my point. $40, $50 plus, depending on where you were getting him from. He was another $15 to ship. Outrageous. I couldn't do that. Now, I can't lie. I have to penalize Icon for that, despite how much I like the figure. So even though I was able to find him, I did have to go outside the country. I gave him 5 points total for pricing, right? Next up, display. How does he look? Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious at this point. He's going to display really, really well. He sits up at about 7.2 inches, if my memory serves me correctly. He does feel pretty solid. He's not like a hollow figure. There is some size to him. He displays well with just about any figure you can. Because also, when you tie back to how good his articulation is and this fantastic cape, which I'll show you in just a second. I'll do that finally. But when you put that articulation and the cape together, you can put him in some amazing pictures. I think we put some up on our TikTok. So if you haven't had a chance to go check our TikTok out, yes, that is a shameless plug. But if you would be so kind to check us out, TikTok at The Great Raw. Instagram also at The Great Raw Forever. We did put some pictures up. I think he's in a battle with Cyborg Superman. But yeah, he absolutely displays well. And when I got display, he scored 20 points there. Finally, last but not least, we talked about accessories earlier. I did wish he would have come with something else outside of the hands. A flight stand would have made this absolutely perfect. He had a flight stand. He'd have scored even higher. But as it was, at least he gave me some hands. So I did get 10 points there. So that gives Icon a grand total of 70 points. Not a bad score at all, folks. Not a bad score at all. He is a really, really cool figure. Overall, if you can find him, we recommend that you certainly pull the trigger and get him. I'm going to take him off the stand real quick here so y'all can get a closer look at him. I mean, look at that, man. Those yellow eyes, that is just bad. The color scheme, amazing. And this cape, like, I'll show you. Like, look at this. You can put him, you can put him in some of the most bad ass poses that you could possibly imagine, right? I mean, this cape, you can just really, really move it around. And that's why I said nothing against plastic or anything like that. But when I want a character that's going to have a cape, particularly if he has a flight stand, I every time a wired soft goods cape beats plastic. That's just my personal opinion. You could have your preference, and that's fine because it's your figure, you're spending your money. But for us here, we want the wired soft goods cape. But he is just, I mean, an amazing figure. As I said, you see, I mean, no problem. Arms rotating, going up, down, around. You don't have the slightest issue at all with this figure. Double jointed, as I said, in the knees and the elbows. He does look, remember I said that head. Now down some, up, but it's just, it does tilt. I mean, you got no problem there. It can rotate around. It's a little stiff, obviously. It just got out the package, right? But it is good, and it is there. No problem with the legs, right? You can clearly see double jointed right here on both cases. Able to kick his own butt right there, right? Folks, this is a tremendous figure if you can get it. I cannot recommend it enough. And that ties into McFarlane. Again, we hate that he is losing the license because he is really giving us some cool figures right now, you know. And I wonder when the license goes to Mattel, what Mattel's going to do with it. Hopefully they can continue. We can get some more characters like an Icon. So again, once again, Icon scored 70 points. Thank you all so much for your time right here. Please make sure you check us out. Obviously here, YouTube. Check us out on TikTok. We are there at The Great Ra Forever, and we are on Instagram. So please check us out. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please continue to stay tuned. Stay great.